Hey guys, previously I made a video on what I thought of the census training for being an enumerator and basically how that experience went. I have seen some people in the comments though really just asking about, have you been in the field, um, asking certain questions about what to do in the field and really just how my experience has been, because I've again talked about my training but haven't really talked about the experience that I've had working in the field. So this has really been, or it's coming up to a close of my first week working as an enumerator for the United States Census Bureau. And so far, I say it's a great job. I really enjoy it. I mean, of course, with any job, it does get a little frustrating at times and all that, but, you really just have to enjoy, the experience that you're getting. It's a very unique job that, really not many other jobs offer what you're doing. Of course you have other jobs like delivery and mailmen and stuff that do interact with people around your community, but you don't really get that sort of personal interaction that you do and the authority that you get with being an enumerator compared to other jobs. But as I will say though, with the experience of being an enumerator in the field for the first week, it's, like I said, it's been an experience. One thing though that I will say is that if you're going to be working out in the field, at least in my area, you're going to be wanting to bring a lot of these, right? You're going to be wanting, and you probably are going to be writing a lot of notice of visit forms. Why? Well, not many people really seem to be answering the door, whether it's because of the time that I'm choosing to go out, which every day I go from about 9 a.m. to around 5:30 p.m. So, kind of just to knock out the whole day. But yeah, I've encountered a lot of houses to where I'll knock on the door and either no one will answer, which, I mean, clearly you can see when people aren't home, cars not in the driveway, such of that nature, that's to happen. But more times than not, I've knocked on the door and I've clearly heard people in there, whether it's children or adults that simply just don't want to be bothered. You can't really help it if someone's not going to answer the door. My common rule of thumb is to, knock on it once, you just go, and then I give it, I'd say, about 20 seconds. Just sit there, obviously we're wearing masks out in the field, so, you're not really going to be, sitting there smiling, so it's kind of hard to present yourself in that manner, but you just, you have your bag, you're going to be sitting there at the front door, right? Sitting there at the front door, you're going to have your bag, you're going to be holding it confidently, you're going to have your phone, and you're just going to be, waiting there, looking at the door. You don't, again, if it depends on what area you're in, obviously there are some neighborhoods that may seem a little bit sketchy, but you don't want to put that off to somebody that you're trying to come in contact with, right? That's another important thing, is when you're standing there and you're waiting for someone to open the door or not, you want to sit there and present yourself with confidence. Show that, again, if it's a sketchy area, don't show that off, because that feeling goes off to the person that you're trying to come in contact with, and wait. And after about 20 seconds, you just do a little knock again. And then at that time, if no one comes to the door, that's when you're going to click on your census phone that no one answered the door, which again, you're going to be doing it probably a lot, because I've run into many times where just nobody answered. And then you're going to write your census ID right there, then you tear it off. Somebody did ask me in the questions or in the comments of my last video, if you have a notice of visit, what do you do with it if you can't put it in the mailbox? Because as we know, if you put it in the mailbox, that's illegal. We cannot do that. what I've run into, you kind of try to put it under the door. There are a lot of times to where there's just a small crevice under a house door or an apartment door where a thin piece of paper can work its way under and into the home. That does work. Other times, it's, again, I told the one person in the comments, you kind of have to act like you're Amazon, right? You got to kind of get creative with it. One house, there was some toys out in the front of the door where the mat was. And really what I did, which I've been doing actually a lot, because obviously a paper like this, it's big, you know. I mean, even a little bit ways away, you're going to be able to notice something like this. So what I did in that situation is I would fold it up tri-way, or I don't know how you say it, like you fold it up in three. So you end up with this, right? So it's a lot smaller than it was. And I put it under a toy, and no one can suspect that. But obviously, a homeowner or somebody who lives there, who interacts with those items normally, you know, they're gonna say, hey, you know, what's this? Or, you know, the child picks up the toy, oh, what's this? Let me go give it to my parents. So, you know, you fold it up like this, you try to hide it as best you can. You know, you don't want it in plain view to where somebody can clearly see that someone's not home, because that's a big safety issue. Other than that, there really hasn't been any problems that I've run into. Again, you're going to be writing a lot of NOVs. Another thing, though, that has been kind of interesting, after so many attempts, and your census field supervisor will definitely address this if it becomes a problem. But after so many attempts, it'll prompt you on FDC to attempt a proxy, to where you have to attempt a proxy. You have to attempt 3 proxies before you leave the area. What is a proxy, you may ask, if you don't know? A proxy is really anybody around who may have information on that household. That can be neighbors, could be really just somebody walking around in the neighborhood. We can ask mailmen. I know in my team, which is Team No Census, and it's great. But in my team, there was an instance of a mailman kind of refusing to not give that information, but they are allowed, because as us working for the Department of Commerce, we are a government organization, as are the United States Postal Service. So at the end of the day, we're just 2 government agencies giving each other information. So they very well are allowed to, and I actually utilized that strategy today when I couldn't really figure out another proxy. Yeah, so really with proxies, it's anybody that may have information on it, even real estate agents. You can call them up and say, hey, does somebody live here? Did you sell the house? So it's really anybody that can help you, who, again, is 15 years or older, and you definitely want to get that information. With apartments, I have a very big apartment complex in my area, and I've run into a problem where people just simply aren't answering the door. And I've come back to many apartment units where there have been NOVs either left by me or by other enumerators, and they've clearly not moved. They're just getting stacked up. Or you can see in your case notes, which I'm going to show you the FDC training app to show you this example, because again, we don't want any PII being shown publicly. So we'll be utilizing the training app for this. Once I log in here, give me 1 second. So like I was saying, at the apartments or really any other case, but this is kind of pertinent or pertains to apartments, which I actually used this today, and it helped me a lot. It helped me a lot to with proxies with apartments. So for example, if you go to a case, which I'm going to stress that this is on the Training FTC app, there would be things called case notes, right? And after a while, after multiple enumerators have attempted that address, you're going to be seeing, 5 or 6 case notes easily. And, you're going to see refusals or no one's home. And in apartment complexes, it's kind of difficult to get proxies. You know what I mean? You can, of course, ask, the other apartment units around there, but what I've run into is not many people know, or even those proxies, they don't answer. So a great thing that I used today, where I knew that there were many attempts on many units, and I personally knew that it was going to ask for a proxy. So in advance, I went to the leasing or the renting office at the apartment, and I simply went up to them. And again, we can't forget that when you go up to a renting office and you want to ask, questions or such about the apartment at hand, you want to give them the information sheet, which is for multi-unit managers, which again, it really says what you're doing, the information that they can provide, such of that nature. So I went into the office, told them who I was, introduced ourselves. Again, you're showing the badge, and this, which again, showing this is kind of more effective than the badge. I said, listen, I'm here. There have been multiple attempts at multiple units in your apartment, and I unfortunately have not been able to get the information that I need to complete some of these cases. So what I did was in my notes, I made a list of every single one of an address that had proxy available to where there were multiple attempts and nobody answered. So I went down on that list with her, and I said, as of April 1st, which again, because you need to stress the information before April 1st, it doesn't matter. So you need to stress with them that, okay, I need to know if people lived in this unit, this unit, this unit, and so on, from April 1st. I'm sorry, the dates afterwards, because that would be considered an in-mover. So April 1st is the date that you need to stress to them. And I simply went down to the list and I asked how many people live in this unit, how many people live in this unit, and I just went down and put the numbers in. Thankfully, in that renter's office or rental office, there were other people that also worked at the apartment, which are, again, great proxies. These are employees that see the apartment every single day. So not only did they tell me how many people lived in each unit, they were telling me, if it's a mother or a father, children. They were definitely detailed that on as well. So that has been a big help, and that helped me bang out a lot, because, and this is really what I learned in training. It's not official training, but what I learned, because we had as I said in my last video, we had an enumerator who did over 500 cases. And she said a strategy that she's been using, which isn't taught officially through training, is basically all the information that is needed to complete a case is simply how many people have lived in that household as of April 1st of this year. That's all that's really needed. Of course we want to know names. Of course we want to know, the race and the ethnicity of the person, whether they're renting it or owning it, or even children and the relationship of the people in the household. The Census Bureau definitely does want to know that. So, you want to definitely try that attempt before you go this route. But after multiple attempts and nothing's working, and really the only thing you have to rely on is a proxy, again, the only thing that is officially needed to end a case is the number of people in the household as of April 1st of 2020. So after I got all my information, it was just simply, you plug it in. Hey, my proxy was a manager at the apartment. They obviously knew it, so it was a good proxy. And what I would do is plug in the number of people in the household, and then everything else, you'd put refuse, because at that one, the apartment, they were busy, and they didn't have time to bring out like each individual file, which of course had more detailed information. So just getting the amount of people in that unit is what's important. And again, that really goes for anything, because at the end of the day, we need to know how many people are living in either a house or an apartment. And if all the information you can get is the number of people in that household, then you're golden. That'll close a case. That's the most important information that we need. So I would just go down, plug in, you can refuse all the other questions and just go on down from there. And that can really save a lot of time, especially with cases that are kind of hard to get to. And you can definitely have that proxy that definitely knows the amount of people in there, or like the proxy at the apartments, which helped me bang out at least 30 or 40 cases which were continually either not showing up at the door or simply refusing. So that can definitely be looked at as a strategy to use at the last case scenario, but excuse me, but it's definitely something good that you can use. Other than that, though, to really wrap this all up, it's been a good experience. I've loved it. I look at it as you're going around your community to, these neighborhoods and places that you may have never been around, that you may have never thought of even going to. And so it really opens your eyes as to the area that you are living around, and it connects you to the people that live in your area. You get to learn new things and connect with people on a day-to-day basis, or however, your work availability is. And you're doing work for your state, you're doing work for the country. And I think that's a really cool opportunity that we get to do that, especially in cases around my own house. I've simply just not, decided not to drive my truck and just walk around, which again leads to great exercise. Like the other day, I didn't take my truck, I just walked around because everything was close and within walking distance. I walked about 8 miles. So that's another cool thing. You're out in the fresh air, you're exercising, you're connecting with the community. It's a really good opportunity. So if you just look at it that way, accept that yes, there's going to be people that may get upset, or yes, there's going to be people that just simply aren't going to answer. Just, sit down, collect your thoughts, think of a good strategy to use, be polite, be approachable, and it should go smoothly. So far so good. I've enjoyed being out in the field, and I'm definitely going to be looking forward to more of the days ahead. So hopefully I will update once this is all done, or if anybody has any more questions. So I'll see you guys later.